Everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is teacher Obadiah, and we're going to look at human ecology and another aspect called climate change and gender. Now, taking Uganda at glance, we'll have to tend to realize that 60% to 70% of food is produced by women. Women in Karamoja, or people in Karamoja walk over 10 kilometers to fetch water, and 90% of the rural homes rely on biogas energy. Rural men depend on rain-fed farming, that is 80%, and there is a plus 1.3 degrees Celsius rise in temperature ever since the 1960s. And in 2019, Climate Change Act was enacted. So both men and women are severely affected by this in different but equally critical ways. So the foundations, we're going to look at climate, gender, and the link between them. So long-term shifts in the global temperature and weather patterns driven by human activity. The main causes of change in this climate is burning of fossil fuels, deforestation and clearing of land, industrial agriculture, livestock, cement production, and waste. So the effects are felt in Uganda. We have temperature rise up to plus 1.3 degrees Celsius since 1960s, irregular and declining rainfall, droughts doubled ever since 1990, floods events up to 40% in 20 years. So it's unequivocal that human influence has warmed the atmosphere and ocean and the land. Climate change is a threat multiplier. It worsens existing inequalities, including gender inequality. What is gender? It's a social construct, but not biological, that shapes how climate change affects people differently. That's not the actual definition, but in terms of climate change, that is what it is. Biological sex is determined by chromosomes, hormones, and anatomy. Fixed at birth, male and female intersex, not the same gender. But for gender, it's a social construct. It's shaped by society, culture, religion, and tradition. It varies across communities and changes over time. It defines who farms, who earns, and who decides. In the Ugandan context, women cook, farm, subsistence, fetch water, and raise children. But the men herd livestock, earn cash income, lead household decisions. Both roles are shaped by society, and both are disrupted by climate change. Why climate change is a gender issue? So you'll be wondering, what is wrong with this nigga? He's talking about climate change, now gender what? So this is what we're going to look at. Gender roles determines who is hit first, hardest, and with the fewest resources to recover. So we have access to resources. Climate destroys land, water, and crops, but men and women have equal and equal rights to own and control these resources. Decision-making power. Women are underrepresented in climate governance. Men dominate policy rooms, despite women bearing greater daily burdens. Division of labor. Gender roles assign women unpaid climate-sensitive work like farming, water, and care, and the men riskier paid work like mining, construction, and transport. Unequal recovery. After climate disasters, men and women face different barriers to recovery, lose income, and women lose safety and stability. So climate change affects both genders differently, but we are all in the same crisis, both men and women. Women, there's face an increased unpaid work burden. All men are forced to migrate for survival. Women look at first to lose food and water. They are the first to lose and water. Women are primary caregivers during crises. They have limited mobility due to childcare, greater exposure to GBV in disaster, excluded from recovery decisions, while the men They are first, what do they face? Occupational heat and safety risks, provide identity lost with livelihood, mental health toll from displacement, social pressure to cope silently, and expected to lead but lack the resources. So the key recommendations for policymakers, researchers, and practitioners: a gender-inclusive climate agenda. Number 1, collect sex disaggregated data identifying vulnerabilities of both women and men in all climate research and policy. Number 2, include both men and women meaningfully in climate governance structures at all levels. Number 3, fund climate smart agriculture, clean energy, and livelihood programs that reach all gender equally. Number 4, reform land tenure laws to ensure equal land and resource rights for women and men. Number 5, invest in men's mental health and livelihood support during climate-induced displacement and job loss. Number 6, build institutional capacity for gender mainstream across all of Uganda's environmental ministries. In conclusion, climate change intensifies all existing inequalities for both men and women face distinct but equally serious vulnerabilities in climate. Gender is not just a women's issue. Ignoring men's climate burdens leads to incomplete policy and failed interventions. Gender-responsive strategies must ensure equal access to resources, support, and decision-making power for all. Addressing gender dimensions of climate change is a critical pathway to a sustainable development for Uganda and the world. See you in the next video. God bless you.